What up? It's your boy, Todd, coming at you to share another amazing round of stupid thoughts from my brain to yours. Okay, I want to talk about when sex feels like a really big deal, right? This is geared towards guys that are in scarcity, where they're really tight about it and they're in a space where not a lot is happening. They're not having a ton of success. They're not really getting laid. And it is feeling like a big deal, and all that tenseness is making it more difficult, and they really want to be able to let go. Okay, this technique comes from Hale Dwoskin, the Sedona method. Now, the original teacher of these techniques was Lester Levinson, which was Hale Dwoskin's mentor. I really cannot recommend enough Hale Dwoskin and the Sedona method and the entire body of work. When I first did it, I hated it. It sucked. Also, if you hate something that bad, then like it's a pretty good indicator that like it's hitting your system, so you should definitely do it. But he's got a bunch of audio courses, the Sedona method. Definitely check it out. Okay, so part of this method is called welcoming opposites. Okay? So I'm going to walk you through it if you are in a place where you kind of have scarcity around women or sex and you're kind of tight about it and it's feeling like it's a really big deal. Okay? Because you definitely want to shift to like, it's not a big deal. That vibe is like, first of all, it's just way nicer to live that way, for sure. But then it's also way more effective. Okay. So this is welcoming opposites. And you can do this opposite for anything, and I'll just do it on sex. Okay? So I want you to welcome not having enough sex. Like, feel it in your system that, like, not having enough sex. And then, as best you can, just for now, I want you to welcome having too much sex. Just a little bit. Just as much as you can. And now I want you to come back over and welcome not having enough sex. Welcome the feeling of not having enough. And now I want you to welcome having too much sex. Just as best you can. Welcome that feeling. And then I want you to come back over and welcome not having enough. That feeling of not having enough sex. And then I want you to come over and as best you can, just for now, I want you to welcome having too much. Having too much sex. Then I want you to come back over and welcome not having enough. That feeling, I don't have enough. And then I want you to come over and as best you can, I want you to welcome the feeling of having too much. You just have too much. Way too much. And then welcome not having enough. And then welcome having too much. Just so much. And then welcome not having enough. And then welcome having too much. Just so much. That is an example of welcoming opposites. And if you stayed listening to that, you probably started to feel some release, some tension letting go. And let me explain kind of how you do this. So you can pick any topic, anything that you're feeling scarce on, and you welcome not having enough of it, and you welcome having too much of it. Now, the verbiage here, as you go back and forth, so the way you know that you're done is like, it just kind of like, you feel like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, it just kind of like rolls off of you. Like, you don't feel that really deep tightness anymore. Now, it's okay to feel the tightness. When you feel the tightness, that's when you kind of do this back and forth, and it kind of like works its way out of your system. You can do this for anything. The way that I really recommend doing it is welcoming the not enough side first, and then this language is very important. So welcome not having enough, and then on this side it's as best you can, just for now, can you welcome having too much, even the teeniest bit of too much. And then welcome having not enough. And then as best you can, just for now, can you welcome just the teeniest bit of having too much. And you start with that language, kind of those, as best you can, just for now, the teeniest bit, until it kind of starts to loosen, and you're able to just welcome. Can you welcome this and kind of, oscillate back and forth with your system until you kind of feel it drop away and you feel more relaxed in your body. Okay. So again, that comes from the Sedona method. We talked about one part of this, but this is coming from, wanting to have that vibe where like sex isn't that big of a deal. So it's like you're in scarcity. So it's like welcoming not having enough and welcoming too much. And it's kind of going back and forth between those. And last point I'll make is like, it's okay if your system says no. Like if you welcome not having enough, like, can you welcome not having enough? You're like, no. It's like, okay, fine, no. And can you welcome having too much? No. Okay, fine, no. Can you welcome not having enough? No. Can you welcome having too much? No. Like, the no is okay. It's okay to feel the no. Like, if you're like, can I, that is kind of why you do the things of like, as best you can, just for now, can you welcome the teeniest bit of not having enough, or the teeniest bit of having too much? Like, those words are a way to kind of like help get it into the system. But the no is okay, because when you're in the no, believe it or not, you're already in release. Like, it's already starting to let go. So this is something that I use for really anything that I'm getting tight about. Like when I'm really in want and I'm really in getting and I'm really tight about something, I can feel tight. I like to welcome the opposites, and it kind of helps fall away. I'm not totally 100% clear why this works. My best understanding is that if you've heard of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, we have these cognitive distortions, like the mind latches onto things. And so it latches onto these concepts of like not enough and too much. And like having not enough feels real, but then like having too much, you're like, what? Like, I don't even know. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. It's like, right, that doesn't make sense. And this doesn't make sense. Like, neither one makes sense. It allows that kind of like framework to fall away. Again, Hale Dwoskin, Sedona method, cannot recommend it enough. When I first did it, I hated it. So if you start doing it and you hate it, you're welcome. And also, welcoming opposites on things that you're feeling scarcity about will help you kind of drop those. It'll help kind of get relaxation into the system, and then now you're able to do the things that, because like a lot of times when we're like all bunched up like this, like you know it. Like you can see a guy, we'll use an example of a guy playing a game, playing sports or whatever. If he's really tense, you're like, ooh, no good. Like, you do want to practice to get ready, and then you want to be loose when you're doing it. And this helps you get loose, which actually helps get the energy moving so you can honestly live a better life. That really is the goal of all this. Okay, another exciting video from your boy Todd. Hope you're doing amazing. I'll see you out there, or back in here.